Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we are breaking down a massive viral phenomenon to help you regain absolute control over your AI coding assistants. Look, if you've been using coding agents lately, you already know the deal. They can be incredibly powerful, but honestly, they can also be incredibly frustrating. So today, we're going to decode a brilliantly simple solution that is absolutely taking the developer world by storm. Okay, let's dive right into this. 91,000. Now, in the developer world, 91,000 GitHub stars usually means you're looking at a groundbreaking new framework, maybe a revolutionary new database, or some massive open source project backed by a massive tech giant. But what we're looking at today? It's none of those things. It's actually something entirely unexpected. The absolute mystery of this anomaly is that Forrest Chang's trending repository has literally zero code. There is zero dependencies, there's no build step, there's no fancy new model. The entire thing is just 65 lines of plain English inside a single file called claude.md. And it's based entirely on observations made by Andrej Karpathy regarding exactly how LLMs fail at coding. Section 1, the wall of frustration. Why we actually need rules. To really understand why a simple text file is getting so much attention, we have to talk about the shared pain literally every developer faces. There's just this massive gap between what we intend and the AI's default behavior. Imagine this real-world scenario. You ask an AI to add a tiny 3-line caching layer to a Polar's data pipeline. That is all you want. But what does the AI actually do? It completely rewrites the function signature, introduces this super complex dependency injection pattern you didn't ask for, and wraps the whole thing in a class exposing 8 methods you will never, ever call. You just wanted 3 lines. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact problem: relentless AI scope creep. The crazy part is, these massive overcomplications, they aren't exotic bugs. This is the default behavior. Imagine asking an AI to fix a simple date parsing bug. It fixes the bug, sure, but then it silently decides to reformat your entire file, switch to completely unrelated functions from list comprehensions to loops, and toss in type hints to a totally different module. Every single developer using these tools has watched this happen and quietly had to clean up the mess. Section 2, the 4 core principles. Setting up a behavioral contract. Now, what we're talking about here isn't just a list of tips. It is a strict behavioral contract that your AI reads at the start of every single session. You're setting the guardrails before a single line is written. Let's break these down. Rule 1 is literally think before coding. This rule forces the AI to state its assumptions out loud. If your request is even a little ambiguous, the AI is instructed to stop and ask you for clarification rather than just guessing. Most importantly, it tells the AI to stop when it gets confused. It forces the agent to explicitly name what is unclear, instead of just picking a random interpretation and running a mile in the wrong direction. Rule 2 is simplicity first. The AI absolutely must write the minimum code necessary. So, for example, instead of letting the AI refactor a basic data parser into some bloated 50-line class with totally unnecessary inheritance, this rule forces it to write a single, minimal, 5-line pure function. No speculative abstractions whatsoever. No added flexibility that nobody asked for. The ultimate test here is brilliant. It asks the AI, would a senior engineer call this overcomplicated? If the answer is yes, the AI needs to push back or simplify its approach. Rule 3 is all about surgical changes. We need the AI to respect boundaries. This directly attacks the frustrating scope creep we saw in our caching example a minute ago. The rule dictates that the AI must touch only what the task requires. It is explicitly forbidden from improving neighboring code or refactoring things that are not broken. Every single changed line must trace directly back to your original request. All of this builds beautifully into Rule 4, goal-driven execution. AI agents really struggle with vague commands, right? Well, this rule forces the AI to turn vague instructions into verifiable step-by-step targets before it writes a single line of application code. So say you ask it to add validation. The AI immediately translates that into Step 1, write tests for invalid inputs. Step 2, make those tests pass. It creates a highly structured path to success. Section 3, strategic implementation. Going beyond basic config. Now, what's really interesting here is how you actually integrate this into your workflow without messing up your current setup. Think about your standard project configuration. You've got your basic framework choices, your specific naming conventions, your test policies. That's the normal project-specific stuff. Well, you do not replace any of that. Instead, you're adding behavioral instructions. Things like state your assumptions, simplicity first, and surgical changes. The repo acts as a menu, not a rigid template. You simply append these 4 behavioral rules under a new behavioral guidelines section in your existing setup. It's that easy. However, to be completely fair and impartial here, we do need to de-escalate the hype just a little bit. This plain English contract is a behavioral context. It is not a magical guarantee. The AI reads it and absolutely treats it as an instruction, but it doesn't always follow it flawlessly. What this file actually does is drastically improve the distribution of behavior. It tilts the odds heavily in your favor, but, don't bet a tight, stressful deadline on it being 100% perfect every single time.
Section 4, the 91,000 star vote.
So what does a 91,000 star vote actually tell us? Honestly, it's a massive collective vote on a shared problem. Every developer has hit the exact same walls: the silent assumptions, the overcomplexity, the relentless scope creep. This simple file names those problems in plain language and offers a fix that takes literally 30 seconds to copy and paste. And the crucial point is this: look at what the real innovation actually is here. Most of the energy right now in agent tooling is going into building these complex, heavy layers. But this solution, it isn't a new skill. It's not a plugin, it's not fine-tuning, and it's not some labyrinth of a system prompt. The best coding agent improvement of the year so far is literally just 65 lines of plain English dropped into a repo root. It is winning precisely because it's not another complex layer. It's just a simple contract. Which leaves us with something incredibly important to think about. Are we totally over-engineering our AI tools when a plain English contract actually works better? I'd love for you to really rethink your approach to AI tooling today. Try dropping these 4 simple rules into your own project and just watch how the AI's behavior shifts. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy coding!